The top stories: Prime Minister Abiy announces key cabinet appointments. And advocates called for the inclusion of marginalized groups in peace-building efforts in the Horn of Africa. Hello and welcome to ABC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism, with the latest news highlights of the hour. I am Tabitha John. Do stay with us. In today's announcement, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has appointed new ministers for key government positions. Gideon Timotheus will now serve as Ethiopia's foreign minister. He replaces Hannaraya Selassie, who has been appointed as the new Minister of Justice after her previous role as Chief Commissioner of the Ethiopian Investment Commission. Additionally, Selamawit Kasa, formerly the State Minister of Government Communications Service, has been named the new Minister of Tourism. These changes reflect the government's ongoing efforts to strengthen its leadership. The Ethiopian Securities Exchange has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Nairobi Securities Exchange and iCapital Africa Institute to enhance regional financial markets. ESX CEO Tilahun Ismail emphasized that this partnership will accelerate growth and position Ethiopia as a key player in the East African financial landscape. Nairobi Securities Exchange CEO Frank Mwiti expressed excitement about unlocking opportunities for investors in both countries. Meanwhile, iCapital CEO Gamachu Aktola highlighted their commitment to support the partnership through innovative solutions. The collaboration aims to improve capital market integration, focusing on knowledge exchange, capacity building, and cross-border investments, with initiatives including joint training programs and the development of innovative financial products. The Ethiopian Development Bank and KfW, a leading German promotional bank, have agreed to enhance their cooperation in various financial sectors. Mabet Mellese, the newly appointed president of the Ethiopian Development Bank, met with Markus von Essen from the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. They discussed potential financial support and reviewed two ongoing projects funded by KfW, one providing leasing services for agricultural machinery and another facilitating finance for small and medium enterprises through microfinance institutions. They also explored future opportunities to strengthen their collaboration, as noted in a social media post from the Ethiopian Development Bank.
Due to the role Ethiopia played in the liberation of different African countries,
the same artist, Nene Sanguinetti, designed the fauna of Africa.
Became a famous landmark venue for Pan-Africa and Africa Renaissance.
Of course, bringing in new technology.
Including 7 artworks. We have 7 different artworks.
One of the most important artworks of the continent.
The permanent exhibition has got 3 different compartments, 3 different themes.
It shall have some elements which are characteristic of this continent.
Different African countries will have the opportunity to display and to introduce themselves with other African countries and with the rest of the world.
We have a screen there which is allowing to broadcast meetings from New York.
The global representation and specifically just regional African representation.
It will be launched this month.
The American Friends Service Committee is highlighting the urgent need to include marginalized groups in peace-building efforts across the Horn of Africa. The advocacy group is calling on regional governments to prioritize peace and stability in their agendas to effectively implement these strategies. To this end, they have launched a 10-year advocacy strategy for peace and stability in the Horn of Africa, covering the years 2023 to 2033. Goshu Melissa has the following report.
The Horn of Africa region is marked by instability, continues to grapple with a complex wave of challenges. Election-related violence exacerbated by the political divisions has shaken governments and communities alike. Compounding these political tensions are climate-driven conflicts as droughts, floods, and resource scarcity fuel disputes over land and water. These intertwined crises have created a violent environment, threatening peace and development across the region. In response to the challenges in the Horn of Africa, the American Friendly Service Committee and Bread for the World have launched a 10-year advocacy strategy for peace and stability with key stakeholders gathering in Addis Ababa. Regional representative of the committee, Christoph Schneider, said a 10-year strategy was designed to address numerous irregularities in the Horn of Africa region.
The 10-year strategy is a response to the conflicts that we're seeing, because when you look at development, people can only prosper in peace. Yeah, the nation can only develop in peace. If you don't have that, it is a perpetual cycle of violence and destruction that will not advance a society, a nation, and people. In so many countries in the Horn, you have conflicts here and there, and that hampers the advancement, the prosperity of people and nations. So that's why we decided, as faith-based organizations, we have a contribution to make towards peaceful resolutions to conflicts.
According to advocacy groups, addressing the inclusion of marginalized groups is essential to ensuring lasting peace in the Horn of Africa.
Issues of inclusion are things that are not really sometimes looked into, and we're trying to advocate for an environment where women, youth, persons with disabilities and other minority groups can actually be part of those conversations when it comes to peace building, when it comes to mitigation, when it comes to migration discussions, prevention.
They emphasized that since peace building takes time, regional governments should prioritize peace and stability in their agendas to effectively implement the strategy.
For peace building, it takes time, but we set out for 10 years. We have a monitoring and system that we have attached to it, and we will do this every year. So like tomorrow is the first time when we come together and we look at the achievements so far, and we will do this on an annual basis. We will also publish those results, so you will learn how we go.
Our contributions are going to be contributing to these national priorities that concern peace and stability, and also pushing the developmental agenda. So which means that we're deliberate to understand that we want to be allies to the government to contribute to their national priorities. But now the communities are part of this, because the discussions, the dialogue that will be taking place at the local level will involve the community members.
The Horn of Africa Regional Advocacy and Policy Program Director describes the strategy as comprising a holistic approach to ensuring peace.
The strategy is really a holistic approach to be able to look into these 5 needs within the Horn of Africa and help the Horn of Africa region to be able to find solutions and become a more stable region, and prevent the narrative that goes out saying that this is the most conflict-prone regions of the world.
Various civil society organizations and stakeholders diligently discussed the issue of peace, noting that the development of the advocacy strategy will be strictly monitored.
Water Resources Practice Lead Dr. Alem Gabriel says the Nile Basin Cooperative Framework Agreement paves the way for fair, equitable water management and utilization of the Nile water resources among the riparian countries. He also highlighted the significance of the agreement in preventing interventions by downstream countries like Egypt through establishing the Nile Water Basin Commission. Shagao Yamato has more.
Ethiopia has officially announced the coming into force of the Nile Basin Cooperative Agreement, ratified by 6 Nile Basin countries on October 13, 2024, after relentless attempts to deter its implementation by Egypt and Sudan. The coming into force of the agreement plays a vital role to establish Nile Water Management Agency. In an interview with EVC World at this dialogue, Dr. Alem Gabriel, Water Resources Practice Lead at Intake Engineers, Houston, Texas, indicated that the CFA paves the way for fair, equitable water management and utilization, promoting cooperation among Nile riparian countries for mutual development.
I believe it will pave the way for mutual development. There are a lot of economic models that has been really formulated. If the countries cooperated together, how they benefit each other from all of them. So if one country has, for example, if you take Sudan, they have a lot of land for irrigating agriculture. So if you utilize irrigation in Sudan and hydropower in Ethiopia, because we can really develop a lot of hydropower in the Nile Basin, there are several studies, there's a lot of potential. So there is energy, food, and power synergy. So if you cooperate each other, that will benefit each countries. The same thing to the other upper riparian countries in Sudan, Tanzania, Kenya, and Rwanda also. So it promotes cooperation. So it promotes inter-country trade.
The agreement is also significant to avoid unnecessary intervention by downstream countries like Egypt by setting up the Nile Peace and Water Commission, as the disputes will be handled by the new continental entity, he added.
If you remember, during the dispute during GER time, during first filling, second filling, third filling, Egypt always took the case to the United Nations Security Council, because there was no body who could address the dispute between the three countries. So now, to a minimum, it will not go there, because there is a body. Once the Nile Commission is formed, all dispute, all Nile Basin water management will be handled by the Nile Commission. So that's one thing. So politically, they cannot use it as an instrument to really stabilize or disrupt the process of utilization of the Nile.
Alam further pointed out that the agreement aims to rectify long-standing historical imbalances and promote collaboration among all nations on the Nile, and he urged Egypt and Sudan to join the CFA to contribute their ideas to form the Nile Commission.
I think they will benefit because, for example, if you see GERD, it didn't impact any of the water flowing downstream. Actually, it has several benefits. For Sudan, for Egypt. We have documented this one in several articles, several publications. So flooding, for example, Sudan, it will really bring us to zero, especially the flooding from the Blue Nile, from Abai River. And sediment and power generation, they will be beneficiaries. So for them, the best thing to do is to join CFA and then be part of the Nile Commission and come and really put your idea, whether it's opposition or support for a particular project when a country proposes within that framework.
The Nile Basin Cooperative Framework Agreement was ratified by 6 countries like Ethiopia, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, and South Sudan. However, Egypt and Sudan, which have historically sought to utilize the Nile waters exclusively through their agreements, have not ratified the agreement yet.
In a speech at the BRICS Business Forum in Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin highlighted the growing economic significance of BRICS nations, noting that they now account for 37.4% of global GDP, surpassing the G7's 29.3%. He anticipates that this gap will continue to widen, with BRICS countries emerging as key drivers of global economic growth and dominating critical markets like energy, metals, and food. Putin emphasized ongoing efforts with BRICS to enhance economic sovereignty through the development of new communication channels, technological standards, and financial systems. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, speaking virtually, encouraged BRICS investors to explore opportunities in Ethiopia, particularly in sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and renewable energy. PM Abiy underscored Ethiopia's abundant resources, large markets, and strong transportation infrastructure, particularly through its national airline. Take a listen to the Premier's remarks.
Ethiopia's rapidly expanding economy presents significant opportunities for investment, economic cooperation, and trade, particularly for BRICS nations. Ethiopia is endowed with abundant natural and agricultural resources, offering access to large and diverse markets across Africa and beyond. This advantage is further strengthened by our national airline, the largest airline in Africa and a leader in international cargo and passenger transport. Additionally, our affordable and increasingly renewable energy infrastructure, coupled with a young, skilled, and trainable workforce, positions Ethiopia as an attractive destination for investment. In recent years, we have implemented bold economic reforms aimed at making our economy even more business-friendly. These transformative measures include the liberalization of key sectors such as telecommunications and finance. We have also adopted a market-based foreign exchange regime, creating more conducive environment for foreign direct investment. These changes are designed to ensure that Ethiopia is well equipped to compete in the global market and to offer significant returns for investors. In this context, we strongly encourage investors from BRICS countries to seize the opportunities available in Ethiopia, particularly in sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, renewable energy, mining, ICT, and tourism.
You're watching ABC World, a reminder of the top stories. Prime Minister Abiy announces key cabinet appointments. And advocates called for the inclusion of marginalized groups in peace-building efforts in the Horn of Africa. That's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha Germany. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.